Have you ever wondered how the government pays for things like schools, roads, and hospitals? In this video, we'll explore the fascinating world of government funding. From the taxes we pay to the services we receive, understanding this process helps us see how our communities function. Let's start by looking at the basics of government services and why funding them is so important for everyone's daily life. By the end of this journey, you'll have a clear picture of where the money comes from and how it's used to benefit society. Government services are the essential functions provided by local, state, and national governments to support citizens. These include public education, healthcare, transportation, law enforcement, and more. Without these services, daily life would be much harder and less organized. Governments are responsible for ensuring that these services are available, reliable, and accessible to everyone, regardless of their background or income. Understanding what government services are is the first step in appreciating why funding them is so crucial. Funding is the lifeblood of government services. Without adequate money, it's impossible to maintain roads, pay teachers, or provide emergency services. Funding ensures that services are not only available, but also of high quality. When governments have enough resources, they can invest in improvements, respond to crises, and plan for the future. This is why understanding how funding works is so important for every citizen. So, where does the government get its money? The main sources of government revenue are taxes, fees, and sometimes profits from government-owned businesses. Taxes are the largest and most important source, collected from individuals and businesses. Fees might include things like park entrance charges or licensing costs. Some governments also own businesses, like utilities, that generate income. All these sources combine to create the funds needed to run essential services. Taxes are mandatory payments made by individuals and businesses to the government. They come in many forms, such as income tax, sales tax, and property tax. Each type of tax serves a different purpose and is used to fund various services. For example, income tax is often used for national programs, while property tax might fund local schools. Taxes are the backbone of government funding, making it possible to provide services for everyone. Income tax is a tax on the money people and businesses earn. It's usually collected by national or federal governments and is one of the largest sources of revenue. The amount you pay depends on how much you earn, with higher earners typically paying a higher percentage. Income tax funds a wide range of services, from defense to social programs, making it a critical part of government funding. Sales tax is a tax added to the price of goods and services at the point of sale. It's usually collected by state or local governments. Every time you buy something, a small percentage is added to your bill and sent to the government. Sales tax helps fund local services like police, fire departments, and public transportation. It's a way for everyone who spends money to contribute to the community. Property tax is charged on real estate like homes and land. Local governments usually collect this tax, and it's a major source of funding for schools, parks, and emergency services. The amount you pay depends on the value of your property. Property taxes ensure that communities have the resources they need to maintain and improve public spaces and services. Besides income, sales, and property taxes, there are other taxes like excise taxes on specific goods, such as gasoline or tobacco, and tariffs on imported goods. These taxes are designed to raise money and sometimes to influence behavior, like reducing smoking. Each type of tax plays a unique role in funding government services and shaping society. In addition to taxes, governments collect fees and charges for specific services. These might include fees for getting a driver's license, using public parks, or applying for permits. Fees are usually paid by the people who use the service, making them a fair way to help cover costs. While not as significant as taxes, fees are an important part of the funding puzzle. Some governments own businesses that generate income, such as utilities or public transportation companies. Profits from these businesses can be used to fund other services or reduce the need for higher taxes. While not all governments have these businesses, they can be an important source of revenue in some places. Government funding happens at different levels: federal, state, and local. Each level has its own responsibilities and sources of revenue. For example, the federal government might fund national defense, while local governments focus on schools and roads. Understanding these levels helps explain why some services are funded differently depending on where you live. The federal government collects most of its money from income taxes and payroll taxes. It uses these funds for national programs like defense, social security, and healthcare. Federal funding often supports large-scale projects that benefit the entire country, such as highways and scientific research. State governments rely on a mix of income, sales, and sometimes property taxes. They use these funds for education, transportation, and public safety. States also receive money from the federal government to help pay for certain programs. This combination of funding sources allows states to address the unique needs of their residents. Local governments mainly depend on property taxes, fees, and sometimes sales taxes. They use these funds for schools, police, fire departments, and local infrastructure. Local governments are closest to the people and play a vital role in maintaining the quality of life in communities. Every year, governments create budgets to plan how they will spend their money. The budgeting process involves estimating how much money will come in and deciding how to allocate it among different services. This process is essential for making sure that funds are used efficiently and that important services are prioritized. The budgeting process usually starts with government agencies submitting requests for funding. Lawmakers then review these requests, debate priorities, and make decisions about how much money each service will receive. The final budget is approved by a vote and becomes the official plan for the year. Governments must make tough choices about how to spend limited resources. Some services, like emergency response and education, are often given higher priority. Others, such as parks or cultural programs, may receive less funding. These decisions reflect the values and needs of the community. Transparency means that citizens can see how government money is being spent. Many governments publish their budgets and spending reports online, allowing people to track where their tax dollars go. Transparency builds trust and helps ensure that funds are used responsibly. Accountability means that government officials are responsible for how they use public funds. Audits, oversight committees, and public reporting are some ways to ensure accountability. These measures help prevent waste, fraud, and abuse, making sure that money is spent as intended. Citizens can participate in the budgeting process by attending public meetings, providing feedback, or voting on certain issues. Public participation ensures that government spending reflects the needs and priorities of the community. It's an important way for people to have a voice in how their money is used. Sometimes, governments receive grants or aid from other governments or organizations. For example, the federal government may give grants to states for education or transportation projects. International aid can also help fund important services in developing countries. Grants and aid supplement local resources and help fund special projects. When governments need more money than they collect, they may borrow by issuing bonds or taking loans. Borrowing allows governments to fund large projects, like building highways or schools, but it also creates debt that must be repaid with interest. Responsible borrowing is important to avoid financial problems in the future. A deficit occurs when a government spends more than it collects in revenue, while a surplus means it has extra money left over. Managing deficits and surpluses is a key part of government finance. Persistent deficits can lead to higher debt, while surpluses can be used to pay down debt or invest in new projects. Government spending has a big impact on the economy. Investing in infrastructure, education, and healthcare can create jobs and boost economic growth. On the other hand, high taxes or excessive borrowing can slow down the economy. Balancing spending and revenue is crucial for economic stability. One goal of government funding is to reduce inequality by redistributing wealth. Taxes collected from higher earners can be used to provide services and support for those in need. Programs like Social Security, unemployment benefits, and public health care help create a more equitable society. Social programs are government-funded services that help people in need. These include unemployment benefits, food assistance, and public housing. Funding for social programs comes from taxes and is aimed at improving the quality of life for vulnerable populations. Public infrastructure includes roads, bridges, water systems, and public buildings. Funding these projects is essential for a functioning society. Infrastructure spending creates jobs and supports economic development, making it a key part of government budgets. Education is one of the largest areas of government spending. Funding comes from local, state, and federal sources and is used to pay for teachers, buildings, and supplies. Investing in education helps create a skilled workforce and supports long-term economic growth. Healthcare is another major government expense. Funding comes from taxes and is used for public hospitals, clinics, and health insurance programs. Access to healthcare improves public health and productivity, making it a vital investment for any society. Public safety services like police, fire departments, and emergency response are funded by local and state governments. These services protect citizens and property, making them a top priority in most budgets. Funding ensures that these services are available when needed. Governments fund programs to protect the environment, such as clean air and water initiatives, wildlife conservation, and renewable energy projects. These programs are essential for public health and the long-term sustainability of natural resources. Public transportation, highways, and airports are funded by a mix of taxes, fees, and sometimes federal grants. Reliable transportation is vital for economic activity and connects people to jobs, schools, and services. Museums, libraries, parks, and cultural events are often funded by local governments. These services enrich community life and provide opportunities for learning and recreation. Funding for these programs comes from a mix of taxes, fees, and sometimes private donations. Governments invest in scientific research and innovation to drive progress and solve complex problems. Funding for research comes from federal and sometimes state budgets, supporting universities, laboratories, and private companies working on new technologies. National defense is one of the largest areas of federal government spending. Funding comes from income and payroll taxes and is used to maintain armed forces, equipment, and security programs. Defense spending protects the country and supports international stability. Governments sometimes provide financial aid to other countries for humanitarian, economic, or security reasons. International aid is funded by taxes and is used to support development, disaster relief, and global cooperation. Funding government services is not always easy. Economic downturns, changing priorities, and unexpected events like natural disasters can strain budgets. Governments must adapt by making tough choices, finding new revenue sources, or cutting spending to stay balanced. Balancing the budget means making sure that government spending does not exceed revenue. This requires careful planning, setting priorities, and sometimes making difficult cuts. A balanced budget helps maintain financial stability and public trust. The future of government funding will be shaped by new technologies, demographic changes, and evolving public needs. Governments may need to find innovative ways to raise revenue and deliver services efficiently. Staying flexible and responsive will be key to meeting future challenges. Technology is transforming how governments collect revenue and deliver services. Online tax filing, digital payments, and data analytics make processes more efficient and transparent. Technology also helps governments respond quickly to changing needs and improve service delivery. Different countries fund government services in different ways. Some rely more on income taxes, while others use sales taxes or natural resource revenues. Learning from global examples can help governments find better ways to fund and deliver services. Many people have misconceptions about how government services are funded. Some believe that all taxes go to one place, or that governments can print unlimited money. In reality, funding is complex and requires careful management to ensure services are sustainable. To sum up, government services are funded through a mix of taxes, fees, and other revenue sources. Careful budgeting, transparency, and public participation are essential for effective funding. By understanding how funding works, we can better appreciate the services we rely on every day. Government funding is a complex but vital part of our society. It ensures that essential services are available to everyone and supports the well-being of communities. By staying informed and engaged, we can help shape the future of government funding and ensure that resources are used wisely for the benefit of all.